In this video, we're going to be walking through the features of ChatGPT. So maybe you're a speaker who has been using ChatGPT for quite some time, but you really haven't dived into all that it can do or even how to customize it to make it work better for you. Or you're on the other side of the spectrum here where they're brand new to this and you're thinking about setting it up and you don't really know how to do it. So that is what we're going to cover in this video. So I'm going to make myself a little smaller, move myself over here. I'll probably move myself around the screen as we go through the video. So what we're seeing here is my actual live ChatGPT account, and there is going to be quite a bit of stuff in here to digest and understand. Keep in mind, not all this is going to be relevant to every single person watching this video. So let's start getting the lay of the land. Pretty easy interface. Left-hand side is a vertical menu here. This is where you can go ahead and create your new chats. You can search for chats. This is a great feature. I use this a lot, especially if I know that I have been discussing a certain thing, or maybe you're doing content for an event. You can search for that by clicking on this and search, and it will come up and bring up those chats that include that in there. Also, below that, you've got images. So anytime that you have created or generated images, that they could show up here, right? So these are all the images that I created over, the last set period of time. But we can go in here, we can generate our images at this point. And there are certain trends. At the time of recording this video, this caricature trend is popular online right now. So you can see what is trending. Now, next, this template here, part of it, this is just a plugin that I have, so you're probably not going to see that on your account. Below this is apps. This is a very powerful, let's see if I can turn that off. This is a powerful add-on to ChatGPT, especially if you use certain apps, like maybe you create playlists for events and things like that. You can actually connect your Apple Music account. You just click on this and go connect, follow the prompts, and then your chats will be able to reference your Apple Music account and Apple as a whole that way. But there are many different plugins and apps that you can go ahead and connect here. Lovable, which we talked about last. No, we didn't. We haven't talked about that yet. That's coming in an upcoming video as well. So you can go and kind of search through this and see all the different apps that are there. Deep research, this is the section where if you've done any deep research, and we will be doing a video on this coming up as well. So it's a new feature of ChatGPT, as well as other AI tools like Gemini. You'll be able to do that. And then Codex is the application for doing coding, which we're not going to get into in this video. Down below, I've got these collapsed. This is where custom GPTs are. This is where projects are. And again, we're going to have this month a video on projects coming up. So you'll be able to do that. And then a list of all your chats. And you can obviously just collapse and open them up as you go. But really, the hidden part comes down to in the bottom left. When you click on this, well, let's move my face out of the way here. And we're going to look at the settings in here. Pretty self-explanatory. This one here is upgrade plan. If you're on just a basic plan, you can upgrade it there, or you're on a pro plan, you want to upgrade it to a bigger plan, you can go ahead and click on that and go through those steps. Let's look at the personalization. So within personalization, this shows up under the settings feature. So you can get to this if you just went to settings as well, and then go to the personalization. So they're not two separate sections. It's just taking you a quicker route to that. But we're going to go from the top down. So let's look at general in here. First thing at the top, multi-factor authentication, MFA. That's when it sends you a code and all that. You can set that up. Now, I don't have that set up currently on mine. Because there's nothing really in here that's too top secret. Maybe I'll set it up down the road. But what's great about it is it allows you to use the passkey function. If you're an Apple person and you have that set up, that's really helpful. You can use text messages or a multi-factor authentication app, which will give us a code for that. Coming down, we've got our appearance side, so we can do the system color. We can do light like that or dark. I prefer the dark. It's a little easier on the eyes, especially if I'm working into the evening. And again, you can go ahead and change these. And then your accent color, if there's one here that matches your brand, us being Blue Cow Marketing. Now, naturally, we're going to pick blue. Language, kept it at auto detect. Spoken language, auto detect. But if you do speak in other languages, you can go ahead and preset those in here. Now we got the voice. Now ChatGPT does give you the option to do voice chat, which is really quite fun and enjoyable, and allows you to really come up with ideas and content and strategies, when you want to be hands-free. I've done a lot while driving where I just get into a conversation with it, and we're building out nurture sequences or app development ideas, or even just coming up with concepts on stuff. So you can pick a voice that matches your desire here. And then separate voice. So if you want to separate the voice, which means the voice chats would be a different section than just your regular text chats in here, you can go ahead and turn that on. And then showing the additional models. There are additional models. ChatGPT, I think we're at 5.2 or something right now. But if you did this, it would allow you to choose those, and you can turn that on and off. Notifications, pretty self-explanatory what this would be, but this is how you want to receive responses, push notifications, group chats, push, you got tasks, you got projects, recommendations, and usage notifications. So you have the option to choose. Some of them are just email, some are push and email. Personalization. Now we start to get into the nuts and bolts to make this more your own. So what's the basic style and tone? So we drop these down. You've got some options in here. So default is just a preset style and tone if you want polished and precise, friendly, candid, quirky, efficient, nerdy, cynical. Okay. Now, my thoughts with this is if you're using your account for different types of content, maybe you are doing some pieces of content that need to be professional, some that candid, whatever. You can actually get those outputs by telling the chat prompt to be that certain way. This is basically a default setting. So if we set this to professional, the default style is going to be professional unless you tell it likewise, right? So I'm going to keep mine at default. And then we get into the characteristics. We've got warm, enthusiastic, headers and lists, emojis. So in here, do you want it to be less warm or more friendlier, enthusiastic, more or less, emojis, less. I don't like emoji. I'm going to turn that off. And then headers and lists. So do we want more of those or less of those? So you can go ahead and kind of see. And rule of thumb with this would be as you start to use your account, the more you see it's probably straying away from what you want, you could go in here and adjust those later. Then we got our custom instructions. So in here, I got be more conversational, personal in your content. Don't use emojis in the content you create. This is also going to help above. Avoid long paragraphs. Don't use dashes in content, but either either a comma, or a dot dot dot. Use encouraging tone, forward-thinking views, right? So you can go ahead and put in that kind of content. And then about you, a little bit about you as the person here, occupations, all that kind of stuff. This is going to be set up for the default chat. Okay, this is the main one. When you open it up, go new chat. This is where it's pulling all this information from. And then down below, we've got memory. What happens with the memory over time is that it gets full of content that may not be relevant to your business. Maybe you hop on there because you're looking up something for a friend or a colleague or something just personal. You don't really want that committed to the memory into your ChatGPT account. So we can go in here and turn on or off some of the settings like saved memories, reference chat histories, but we can click manage and see all the different stuff that it has committed to its memory. Now we can go ahead and remove some of this. So for example, here's a memory about a project I did with a client. I don't need that in my general one, so I can delete that memory from there, right? So as you're creating content, if something is important, you could say, save this to your memory or remember this, and that's where it's going to go in here. You can go in and do a delete all memories and just wipe it clean if you choose to do so. And then record mode here, so reference record history or record, so reference all previous recording transcripts or notes when responding. We've got an advanced tab down here saying let ChatGPT automatically search for web answers, turn that on, code, canvas, ChatGPT voice, advanced mode. Now some of these terms you may not be familiar with yet, and that's okay. That'll come in future videos. Then we come down here, the apps. So any of those apps that we installed, from the left-hand side over here, this is where you can manage those and connect or reconnect or disconnect those. So I have Gmail connected within mine, so it can automatically reference Gmail moving forward. And there's obviously some deeper tech stuff down here. But if I wanted to disconnect it, I can go ahead and do that or turn off that I don't want it to automatically be in the chats that I have. Google Files, so I could add for chat and deep research. So I can go in here and click on this and then say connect my Google Drive. I'm not going to walk you through that process in this video. We got advanced settings for developer mode if you want to get to that point. It does have an elevated risk, so they do a good job at telling you what things will and won't do. Schedules. What are schedules? This is where if you're creating a process and you're creating a GPT and it's running, you can actually go into the menu and click on the three dots in that conversation and set it up to run on a schedule, right? So maybe you're going out and telling it to go search the web and come up with the top events that are happening, across Canada, the US, or whatever for speakers in your industry, right? If you figured out what that prompt is and what you say is, this would be great if this could run every single month. Well, it can. You can go into those chats, go in here and say, schedule this to run, and it's going to run that same prompt every single month on that schedule. So you don't have to remember to come back and do that. Next, we got our data controls. So in here, we can approve the model for everyone, which means are we sharing our information to the collective whole of OpenAI and ChatGPT? By default, I have mine turned off. Remote browser data, that's on, so that's going to allow us to go and let the agent mode use the remote browser to reuse cookies between sessions. So what that means is if you're using ChatGPT agents, and again, we'll have another video coming up about this, but in short, it's a agent model, a computer that creates itself and can go and do tasks. So if it's like, hey, I want you to go to this directory and give it the link, and I want you to go and search through for this type of person, what you'll see in the chat is it actually spins up what looks like a desktop version of a computer, and you can see it bringing up the website and going there and scrolling and doing things and collecting information. That's what we mean by agent mode. So what this means is it would allow you to reuse cookies between sessions. Cookies are basically these tokens on your browser that allow you to get, regain access for things. If you have that off, it means that every time it goes to try to log into a site or get back to one of these sites, it may not have that ability and may need to go and find the username and password that you give it for that. Otherwise, it will essentially just stay logged in like you would on your computer. Okay. Now we got shared links, so we can go and manage these. So these are different links that have been shared within the system over time in different chats, right? So as you see here, this is where it's coming from. You can manage these. You can go in and view that source chat that created this and so forth. We've got our archived chat. So in here, if we ever archived a chat, I'm not sure. No, I did not archive a chat, but that is where you would manage that. Or you can archive them all. If you want to go all rogue and be like, you know what, I'm archiving the whole thing. We're going to start fresh, but I don't want to lose them. Then we're just going to archive them in there. Or you're like, hey, you know what, this has just become too outlandish. This ChatGPT account is crazy. So I want to delete it all. I want to wipe it free. I can do that, or I can export all my data. Next, we got our security. So this becomes helpful if you're trying to make sure that your account is secure. So in here, you can go and create your password. You can do your pass keys so they can connect it with Apple. You can turn on your multi-factor authentication. That is a mouthful here for the app. For push notifications, logins with push is sent to your trusted device. So what this means is if you have a ChatGPT app on your phone and you have login with that same account as your desktop, when you go to log in on your desktop anywhere else, or again on your account, it'll actually send a notification to the app for you to approve it. Or text message, right? If you want to receive a text message. And you'll be able to see any of the trusted devices that are in here. So let's say you are traveling and you're using a friend's computer and you log into your account, you obviously will authenticate it there, but that then becomes a trusted device. And now in the future, you may want to remove that. You can go in here, click on this and say, okay, I'm going to click on the box. Oh, actually, that's not a checkbox. And we're going to delete that. So now if that's opened up again and it's in a session, it won't allow that person to access it. And we could force logout on all devices here on this device and all devices. Then you've got see here who has securely signed in. So Apple Intelligence has access to my ChatGPT account, and Codex for Coding is here. Lastly, down here, well, second to last, is parental controls. This is a new feature that's in here. So if you go in here, you can add a family member and invite that family member to the ChatGPT account, whether it's a parent or guardian, or a child. So now you can have access to allowing them to use your paid ChatGPT account, but you can set the parameters in here for them so that you can work within this whole family dynamic. And then your account in here, again, this is self-explanatory, your payment management, your age verification, your profile information, anything that's connected to this. So in a nutshell, that is all the different settings and customization parts of your ChatGPT account. So I recommend that you go and get familiar with it, go through all your settings, make sure that they are in line with what you want, and then you'll be better suited for using this more effectively. But in future videos, if you want to either watch this on our YouTube channel and you want to see more videos like this, go ahead and subscribe right now, like this video, put a comment in this video if anything I showed you does not make sense. I will be happy to answer those. But we're doing more videos on ChatGPT. Actually, the next one that I'm going to be doing here today is going to be covering projects and how to use those in your life and in your business. Thanks for watching.